The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello, welcome along to the show. Dan, Michael, Moscow, weekly update where we break things down like young hip folk. Who is it brought to you in association with this show, Michael? Go on, surprise them.
Solicitors.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the name Levi's.
Yes. What do they do?
Wills, probate, conveyancing, and then business services too, and personal services, dispute resolutions, all sorts of them.
What's the favourite dispute you've been involved in? You've been involved like with a neighbourly dispute over a fence or a tree line? Or...
My Wizz Air dispute. That was good. I did small claims court on that. That was fun.
Yeah.
So that was probably my favourite dispute.
Yeah. What was that about?
They didn't pay me some compensation I should have had for some flights.
That's exciting, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah. But hopefully you can avoid going down the small claims route by using dispute resolution services with Levi solicitors.
They probably want to deal with something a bit bigger than me bitching about flights, to be honest.
Probably.
But
But if you're moving house, need to move a will, buying a house as well, get your will sorted out. Yeah. LeviSolicitors.co.uk/the square ball. 10% discount on your legal fees. Into it then, shall we? We're all feeling very happy. Nice things are happening at Leeds United. The return of Stuart Dallas.
I was going to say, which part of Willie Nonto being injured do you like the most?
Well, he can go away and think about what he's done, can't he? Willie Nonto. New jobs. We're putting together a new scouting operation. We can cover off that if you like. We're getting a new badge. Did you see that? That was exciting as part of the scouting operation. 21s, playing in Europe. You know, there's lots of stuff to go. Where do you want to start?
Should we start on a positive with Stuart Dallas being fit-ish? Fit enough to run around on a football pitch with other people.
He's probably fitter than any of us.
Well, yeah.
At this point, and he probably always was.
Yeah. Yeah, so I saw there was footage of him just knocking around Thorpe Arch mid-injury, wasn't there, when there were like kids coming in and stuff to have a day at Thorpe Arch, and he looked in better shape than all of us then. So, well done. Well done, Stewie.
And is pioneering medical science as well, because Rob Price spoke to the official podcast, didn't he, and went into details about some of the things that have been happening at the club. I don't think anyone has dealt with the injury Stu had before. Anyone in the history of humankind
there you go.
has dealt with that. So it's a unique injury. But I mean, I am making light of it, but it was bloody horrific, wasn't it? Like, proper, like, knackered his whole leg, knee joint.
I sort of always expected him to come back just because it's Dallas. I feel like other people might have just gone, do you know what? It's a long road back, is this? I'm kind of knocking on.
Just take it off.
Just
get rid of it.
I've got a contract. Just pay up my contract and that'll do.
Yeah.
Kind of, I'm through with this. But no, he's, I'm glad he's back. And he's always been around the team, hasn't he, as well? That's the other thing. He never has seemed, in some days I think injured players can not be part of the squad, but I feel like Dallas has always been there one way or another.
The squad dads, as old Rob has termed them. He's recovery because it was quite a lot of shattering going on with his thigh bone, wasn't it? Which reminds me of Bobby Collins, the 1960s, who in our first ever competitive European match in Torino had his thigh broken by a Torino player who then claimed it was an accident. I think the players on the pitch...
I mean, I don't know about you, Moscow, but I'm always under the impression that it takes quite a lot to break a thigh.
Yeah, he sort of claimed, he was like, I slipped. And the Leeds players on the pitch were not really convinced by that. But one of the things that helped Bobby Collins get back was that because it was in Italy, they moved him to a hospital in the Alps that specialised with skiing injuries, and they put a big metal rod into his thigh bone to kind of bring it all back together before sending him back to Yorkshire. And he played again. Not many more games for Leeds. He was already, I don't know how much he contributed, he was already well into his 30s in a period of time when you basically hit 30 and everyone's like, you're retiring then.
I was going to say that he's a post-war Scottish 30 as well, which is the modern equivalent of like mid-50s.
Yes. But he played a few more games in Division 1 for Leeds, and I think he went to, I can't remember which other clubs, maybe Burnley. He carried on for a while, but yeah, he came back, and so there was kind of
inferior franchises.
There was a precedent there if Stuart Dallas wanted some inspo for how you can put your thigh back together and keep playing football.
But he will get a hero's welcome when he returns to the pitch, and I, for one, am looking forward to that. It'll be a lovely day because I miss Stuart Dallas. Was it you who said he makes you feel safe, or was that someone else? Was it Joel Pirro?
I think it's not a unique feeling.
Very very much so. Willie Nonto, though, injured, as you mentioned before, because we saw there was a little glimpse of him on the pitch after the Watford game, and he appeared to have one of those fancy boots on, didn't he? And I don't mean the kind that, like a Predator boot. I mean like a hospital boot.
Hospital boot and some grown-ups' clothes that were absolutely drowning him, weren't they? But well, it doesn't sound as bad as maybe we thought, because it sounds bad. Farke said it was his ligament, then he said he needs surgery, and then he said he'd be out until the international break, which isn't very far away.
The opening 4 words were, he's done his ligament, which you think, oh God, that sounds bad. Has he ripped it, torn it, whatever, shredded it? What do you do to ligaments?
Me, I don't do much with them.
Rupture them.
Yeah.
You can rupture ligaments. A little surgery, though, which doesn't sound that bad, does it? Not as bad as what Stu had.
There's a little bone that has to be cleaned, apparently.
Yes, do you have a little bone that needs to be cleaned?
I think they take it out and rinse it under a tap, slide it back in.
Yeah.
I mean, the critical part of the quote is he needs a little surgery, but not because of the ligament, which is where it gets confusing. Because there's so little bone that has to be cleaned. There's so little. Does he just mean that there is also, like, there's the ligament is done, but meanwhile there is instead of so little bone, there is a little bone that needs to be cleaned. So maybe it's toe bone? I don't know.
You were mentioning there, just pop it out, rinse it under the tap, and pop it back in again. You could save yourself a bit of work. Is it dishwasher safe?
Willie Nonto's bones?
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't risk it.
Right.
Maybe put it through on a cold setting. Put it through on the glasses setting.
Yeah.
Like not the long, intense one.
Yeah. The delicates thing.
As long as it's a small bone, it should be all right. So, but if it was like his hip, that's going to need quite like an industrial dishwasher if you're going to have to get like his.
It's going a bit serial killer, is this? I'm thinking, picturing like someone's pelvis in the bottom rack of a dishwasher.
I was trying to tee you up to sell the bloody mug, but dishwasher safe.
Oh, I see. Yeah, these are back in stock.
Yeah,
unbelievable hard mugs.
Next time you're cleaning human bones, you can put a mug in there with them.
Yeah, don't. It's disgusting.
It's got my DNA in it as that mug. We'll send you a new one rather than that one.
Yeah,
We can't guarantee that they are made out of. It's just mug stuff, isn't it? They're not made of human bones.
Well,
reconstituted.
Bone china. Is that why it was called bone china?
I don't know, but that's certainly a phrase, isn't it? So, but not something that our mugs, yes, guaranteed. Any,
free of bones.
Any DNA inherent in our Farke mugs is either because we've accidentally sent you one that Dan has drunk out of, or Michael has shredded his fingers putting the mug boxes together.
They are very sharp, those boxes. Yeah. No one knows the pain.
We do this stuff ourselves. I think people don't always realise that when you place an order, what happens next is that Michael's little fingers.
We don't have a team of elves at the North Pole, do we?
No, they start all those mug boxes have been not manufactured, because obviously we buy the cardboard, but you turn them into a box.
I do.
You'll do one.
What's going on? That's not a mug box. It's a standard box. You don't even know where the mug boxes are.
Doesn't know his boxes, does he?
A box is a box, isn't it? Show people your box, mate. So this is only really for YouTube.
I was going to say YouTube unboxing videos are very, very popular.
These are the if you bought like 2 mugs and a T-shirt, you'd be getting your products in one of these.
So look at how he folds that. Yeah.
That goes around.
Do you want me to go get you the tape gun?
Got 2 tape guns, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
See how many folds in.
We've got one for brown parcel tape, one for fragile tape. Wow.
I mean, that's a shoddy job. You've got to finish it.
Have you got any tape?
Will you do that? We'll talk about Willie Nonto's ankles again.
Well, I think we've done. I mean, the fact that we've ended up doing live box folding says I think we've got all we can out of Willie's hand.
He still needs. I mean, he needs to be back quick, doesn't he? Because he's still got 26 goals to score.
Yeah, and he will.
It's quite intrusive, isn't it? That noise.
Yeah, it really is quite distracting. Yeah.
There.
Thank you. Thanks, Moscow.
I do a few boxes as well from time to time. It's not only.
If
he gets me to when you order a signed book from the shop as well, he gets me to do that. He says he can't be bothered. You'd actually be able to tell I have very childish handwriting.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. It's beneath me.
That's what he said.
So I was just going to do a really, really tenuous link from, well, if Willie Nonto doesn't come back, then maybe we could just recruit somebody from France and Scandinavia to replace him, because we've got new scouts.
Who'd find them?
A scout. Take the box off your head, please.
Okay.
Good. A load of job adverts appeared on the website for European Scout, France and Scandinavia.
I see you've just quickly edited it on the sheet because it said Scuts before.
It did say Scuts.
Yeah, we're recruiting for Scutters. What is a scutter? I'm sure it's
a derogatory word for somebody who's a bit sexually
It's
loose.
your mum, that is.
Germany, Holland and Belgium, and head of recruitment, which is an open vacancy. Thought about applying for that?
I could give other people a chance, probably.
Yeah. The biggest talking point that came out of this was somehow this new bastardized Leeds badge appeared on the form or the website point. It's like an office form, isn't it? And anyway, somebody used a graphic of a badge that's clearly been knocked together by somebody in Photoshop.
Not just someone. Jesus has done it, actually. So
Our Lord and Saviour.
Have a bit more respect. Jesus Gamez Flores.
Right.
Yeah, when you kind of reverse image search it, it goes back to a rebrand design that someone did when we got promoted under Bielsa.
Okay.
So somebody's personal project, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you go on their website, they're on Behance, they're a graphic designer, and so they've done some, just to show off their skills, they've done a bit of St. Louis SC rebranding, they've done Hamburger SV, Chicago Fire. They're just doing, like, if I got this job, or if somebody gave me this is my job, I would do it this way.
I quite like a lot of his other stuff. I'm not a fan of this Leeds badge, but some of the other stuff I don't mind at all.
Well, he's fallen into that trap of putting, so the badge is essentially, it's the current shield, so the stripes are there, with a rose in it, with a smiley badge inside of it, then with FC below it, and it says Leeds United above it, even though the smiley badge also says Leeds United, LU, and then, so there's just too much going on. It's way
It's the classic thing, isn't it, of the MOT, ALAW, 1919, Leeds United.
It needs a peacock shouting at an owl, doesn't it, with a sheep being hung in the background. It's got all that sort of stuff going on, so I don't think he's done a very good job. But how it's ended up...
Well, I was going to say that's the bigger question, isn't it? Which I think is fun.
Well, the answer is probably that whoever has been tasked with putting together the application form for technical scouts has gone on Google Images, haven't they? And gone Leeds badge. So I wonder if somebody said, make sure you use like the most up-to-date version of the badge. And okay, yeah. And then somehow found so it's been mocked up how it would look if it had been put on the East Stand by Jesus, has done that as part of his project. And somehow they've gone, well, there's a picture. Even though I get the feeling they're probably sitting in that building and then whoever put this form together, if you are their supervisor, just take them outside the East Stand reception, just go downstairs, get the lift if necessary, go out through the turnstile that they have for the office bit, just stand outside and show them what the East Stand actually looks like and say and point out, this isn't there, it's different.
And also the bricks don't look all fucked up like they do on the Photoshop version, because if the bricks look like that, I would say you need to want to have a look at that pretty rapidly, because you've got real bad subsidence issues there. The whole lot looks like it's about to fall onto low fields.
Yeah, I mean, if you do a Google image search, I've just looked for Leeds badge on entrance, you only have to scroll a few pictures down when you get past all the agency photos that have got the watermarks on before you hit people's Behance profiles. And Behance, if you're not aware of what it is, it's where you knock stuff up in Photoshop, put it on Behance. It's almost like an online art gallery, isn't it? You show people portfolio. That's the word. So I suspect that's probably happened.
Which does raise the question of why Leeds United, recently Premier League Football Club, does not have just all its assets in a folder somewhere that employees can use for projects like this, but instead they seem from this to be just going on Google Images. That's how they do. We need a picture of Luke Ayling for the website. Go on Google, find a picture of Luke Ayling, and hope it is actually him.
Well, maybe that's the next vacancy to be listed. Some sort of central
image searcher,
picture sourcer,
person who knows what they're doing. That would be.
I think that's what they're looking for in terms of scouts as well.
Yeah, so there is actually.
I mean, most jobs that's what you're after.
There are some real jobs up for grabs here, aren't they?
Yeah.
If anybody wants.
I'm glad we're getting some, because I think was it just Victor's spreadsheets before?
Mind you, we did have a manager before who didn't necessarily tick the box of knows what they're doing last season. So
it has been. It would feel like just a general welcome improvement. And they're going for the whole lot. So, and it all fits in with what Angus Kinnear was telling you about not having everything just reliant on one person anymore and building out the structure. So the vacancies, it's not just scouts, there's a head of recruitment. There is a UK scouting lead and a UK scout, a technical scout. Somebody's not really a scout, but technically they're qualified, but they've never actually done it.
Moscow, I'm surprised you're not flying into a furious rage, which we know you're definitely kind of prone to. Have you noticed the European scout vacancy there?
They've left
missed
off
out.
Luxembourg.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's
You got Germany, Holland and Belgium. What about the rest of the Benelux nations?
Yeah, it should be. Well, Germany obviously is not a Benelux nation.
No. But it should have been Germany and Benelux.
Well, no, they should be separating
Benelux.
out. Because there's European Scout, France and Scandinavia should be France, Germany and Scandinavia. And then European Scout, Benelux would be a lot tidier. Instead of just, made a mess. But we've seen the quality of the application form, haven't we? So what were we doing? What are they looking for? I was looking at this. There's also an advert for a match day wellbeing support officer, and one of the duties was staying in your allotted position, which I thought was quite a interesting one.
Like the downward dog?
Yeah, it's just basically sit where you're told to was the thing. What have we got here? So if we want to be a Benelux scout, I should be behavioural attributes, positivity and objectiveness. Mm-hmm. He's good, and that's not my opinion. He's objectively good. So that would be a positive way to do it. Yeah. Enjoys facing challenges. Open-minded. Observation skills. Yes, so the technical skills and experience. Observation skills. That's good.
Watching stuff.
Watching footballers, primarily.
Yes. Understanding. In fact, this is good. Michael could, it may be time for you to get your application in. Understanding and in-depth knowledge of football techniques and skills in shooting, manipulating, passing and controlling the ball. Some of those you can do.
What's your understanding of controlling the ball then? Do it?
Yes, but it's better to find, if you're scouting, look for people who are good at it rather than people who are bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, how does that extend into something more complicated like shooting?
Daniel Farker, for example. Someone who can control the ball.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that'd be probably what
when it comes to shooting, what you're looking for?
Someone who can kick it hard and goalward.
Mm-hmm.
As well, one of the main responsibilities is to promote a professional image of the club at all times. Victor. So yeah, we're maybe moving things forward.
Can I segue again seamlessly into talking about playing in Europe and things like that? The under-21s playing Nice at Ellen Road. That's exciting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it'd be more exciting if it was in France. Leeds is fine.
Would it be a bit nicer if that's where it was?
Hey. I like this competition just for how retro it makes me feel about Europe. Seeing Nottingham Forest play PSV and Chelsea playing Lyon, I feel that's got UEFA Cup 1998 written all over it as that one. And Blackburn in there as well, playing Hertha Berlin. These all feel like they should be good ties. I know you. There's a qualification process for Europe, but I think it'd be more fun if you were just allowed to play in it every now and then. Well,
that was the old Intercities Cups. Fairs Cup was invitational and was kind of based on whether you, in your city, you had an
exhibition, wasn't it?
Yeah,
a fair.
An industrial fair.
That seems perfectly reasonable.
An expo.
Yeah.
So if you held an expo...
So Harrogate Town are in.
And it's why originally you could only have one team per city. So I think in the very early days, they changed the names of the teams. So West Ham, for example, were in the very early years, but had to play as like London because they were representing London and it was supposed to be cities. It was before UEFA took it over because that's when we were the Intercities Fairs champions twice. It wasn't a UEFA competition. It's kind of like just its own thing. I think Luis Sinisterra thinks he plays for Nice.
What, because of the shirts?
Well, they were the other club that was in for him. And yeah, they're both wearing red and black stripes, both coastal.
Bournemouth is practically France anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think Nice probably withdrew their interest and Sinisterra had been like, that's the only place I'm going to go to. So Leeds and Bournemouth, to get rid of him, hatched a little plan to send a lot of French people working on behalf of Bournemouth to get him to sign for them. And so when Angus Kinnear was saying Luis Sinisterra was on the verge of taking legal action, I suspect it was because he woke up one morning in a retirement village on the south coast of England and suddenly realised this isn't Nice, it's not even nice, it's Bournemouth. And so he's like, right, I'm going to sue. Everybody's going to prison over this.
I need to say, I think this is definitely what happened.
Yeah, and so that's why he's not really... Tyler Adams finally played for the English Nice.
He did. Did you see who he came on for?
Lewis Cook.
Yeah. I hope Lewis Cook has just fucking decked him. Just first day in training, just kicked him in the nuts or something.
I mean,
and
he's in fairness to Sinisterra here, he has spoken passionately about joining Bournemouth and how he's got great respect for the club. Where he did that interview where he basically said they were in the Premier League and I didn't have any other Premier League offers, so them was as much as he said.
And Jackie Harrison also returned to the pitch for Everton against the Villains in the Carabao Cup.
In their sweaty kits.
Yes. Well, obviously Jack Harrison's, because it's Hummel making the Everton one, so he will have looked as clean as the day he was signed.
Did you call him Jackie, by the way?
Yeah.
I think we need to knock that on the head until he comes back.
He's still ours. But nice to see him playing anyway.
No, it wasn't. I want him to go there. I want, obviously Sinisterra, we need his biscuit legs to give way.
I mean, that's a matter of time.
Yeah, that's going to happen anyway, so it's not us wishing ill on someone. Jackie, I just want him to not have a nice time. I don't want him to get injured, just have a bad time. Like you've gone on holiday, have a bad holiday.
I think he'll make the best of it, though. That's the thing is...
What, by getting relegated?
Yeah, and he'll probably still just look at it as a learning experience.
Well...
And it's all about, the test for him, I think the reason he went to... Because there's a bit of mystery about why he went to Everton and all that stuff. And then I remembered the interviews he was given last season where it's like, I'm still targeting the World Cup 2026 with England.
Right.
I think that's his personal kind of ambition. So it's like, why didn't he stay in the Championship and fight to get Leeds up? And it's like, because he needs to be playing in the Premier League for whoever to try and impress Gareth Southgate, to try and get into the England squad and play at the World Cup. And we can all dream, can't we? Mm-hmm. And I can't begrudge Jackie a dream.
I can. If he's not playing for us, there's kind of a bit of me thinks bollocks to them all.
Yeah,
I do like Jackie.
I feel more warm towards him than the rest of them because obviously he's put the years in.
Yeah, the much fabled credit in the bank that we speak about,
and
often.
many of them were good years.
Yeah,
and he played a solid part in keeping us up as well in that year, which was a bad year, but one in which he had no blame. But yeah,
when you've gone, you've gone.
That's kind of where I'm.
And I know he's going to come back, and I might love him again, but until that point, I just hope you're not happy. I don't want you to be miserable. Just don't be happy. That's all I ask. Mark Jackson, big Leeds United link up here.
Another Leeds turncoat.
Big link up
Left
there.
us for Scunthorpe. It's barely a club anymore.
And left us coaching-wise for
MK
Dons.
Dons.
There wasn't a
I was
club.
supposed to be pleased that he's now going to be working on Central Coast Mariners as some sort of fisherman.
He's working with
mariner is, isn't it?
Working with Andres, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what you want me to say about these two turncoat bastards, but I hope they have a nice time in Australia, living it up.
Well, this is the ex-Leeds news anyway.
Constant barbecues.
That sounds like Calvin's life as well. He's not having a great time at Man City, is he? Played against Newcastle. They went out of that cup. Well, they might get a bit of game time towards the towards the end of the season. I meant in the next few weeks because Rodri's suspension, but he's having a baby.
Yeah, it was good of Pep Guardiola to tell everyone that. He appeared to have broken the news before Calvin.
Yeah, there's not any. I've consulted with people who monitor Instagram with more detail. I mean, this seems to have been news to everybody that Pep just dropped it in. Said why in his press conference before the Newcastle game, he was asked about Calvin deciding to stay, and he said, yeah, the club asked him in the summer because he's not had many minutes, and he said he wanted to stay. He wants to fight for his place in the team. he will soon be a father, and he's a lovely person, and we're happy to have him here. And I don't know if Calvin's mum
What?
straight on the blower. Hopefully she already knew about this, and Ashley's mother as well. But kind of made the fact that it had not been announced on Instagram, certainly in particular, makes me wonder if there was some kind of more planned reveal in the making that Pep has ruined. So I think for that, regardless of when Rodri comes back from his suspension, Guardiola now owes him like a 20-game run in the team.
I'm going to make a prediction. You heard it here first. We go up this season. He ends up back here on loan next year. That's my prediction.
Well, it does seem he was offered other places, and he don't want to move house, does he?
I mean,
seems to be reading between the lines of what Guardiola said. Is like we were kind of trying to move him on, but maybe the interest was from, I don't know. I'm completely making this up, but if like West Ham wanted him, he might have just gone, nah, he's going to stay here.
Don't fancy London.
Not for me.
Because when you saw the full interview of him talking about how he ended up speaking to Bielsa last season, it's because he said he played so badly against Leicester that he went home and cried, and then texted Bielsa in tears saying like, I really need to talk to you. So I think he's taken on the money aside, but he'd make money at any club he went to, but he is trying to get into the best team in the world, possibly one of the best teams that there has ever been in the world, into the most important position, which is currently occupied by probably one of the best players in the world. Yeah. Working for the most demanding manager in the world, and is finding it really difficult, which is not surprising, but also, he could have easily just gone, nah. That looks quite difficult, that.
It's a bit like Michael's time at ITV, isn't it? Like, where you just really trying to be the best that you could, really knuckling down, doing that work day in, day out. I was
behind a lot of good people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. Just not giving the if I'd have been given the opportunity.
Many thousands of people.
Yeah, big old company that. It's quite a long way down. I was under a lot of weight.
Yeah,
of all those people above me, to be honest.
Marcelo gave Calvin
also have been Calvin's problem last season. If you listen to Pep,
well, yes. Marcelo gave Calvin the best Calvin in his career. I'd love to have done with Calvin what Marcelo has done to him. It is what it is. Wow, there's a ringing endorsement. Does that remind you of like your exit interview? It is what it is.
I didn't have an exit interview.
It's like, I'm not turning up for that.
They were just like, just get out.
leave you past with security.
We've heard what you have to say before. We've heard enough, quite frankly. Just get the fuck out.
The Square Ball Podcast.